Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So it's
there are
never been
many
changed.
different Bibles. Yeah. Well, you can go to different Christians. They're arguing about different things and
Yeah. But
disagreeing.
doesn't that prove that if this Quran has been preserved, doesn't it prove the validity of the Quran? If it hasn't been preserved, if it's from God, then how can it change? Because if it changes, it's not from God. It's authentic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's valid.
And my husband has read it.
However, who wrote it?
Good question.
Someone asked there. Who
Good.
wrote it? I'm not sure.
If you're mentioning, it's your question as well.
He wants
That's
to
fine.
know.
No, that's fine,
Well,
and that's
it's
why
a
we're here. That's why we're here to speak, to not argue, but to have a conversation.
Muhammad didn't write it.
Of course not. So we believe just how the gospel, the original gospel, was given to Jesus, and just how the Torah, the original Torah, was given to Moses, it was given to these prophets. It wasn't written by the prophets. Rather, it's from God. And so we believe that the Quran, just like the previous scriptures, came down from God to the Prophet Muhammad. May peace and praise be upon him. Right? And so he didn't write it. Rather, he was illiterate. He couldn't write it. It's a well-known fact. He was illiterate. He couldn't read and write. And so if he couldn't read and write, and he's coming with these miracles that are mentioned in the Quran that no one would ever known 1400 years ago, and how can it possibly be that he wrote it himself, or how could it possibly be that he is incorrect in his message? Okay, what are these miracles then? Let's bring your proof. Because every single person, they have to prove validity to their message. Just like I'm speaking to you now, I have to prove validity to my message, just how if you were to speak to me about Christianity, you have to prove validity. And so we believe that if you look at the Quran, and I'm sure if you read it now as well, you have a Quran, read it again. Some of the proofs of modern day science. I'll give you an example. God mentioned in this Quran, this book here, that there are waves underneath waves. Meaning, within the oceans and the seas, we don't just have the waves that we have on the top bit, and the outer bit. Rather, if you look downwards, you will find that there are another set of waves underneath. This is something that's only been found within the last 50 to 100 years. The question is, how would Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him, know this? That's the thing. It wasn't from him, it was from God. And what this does is shows the validity of his message, and that is from God. There are various many other examples, such as the bee, the ants, and the way they live.
But where did the document come from? I mean, if no one wrote it, was it one of Muhammad's early followers who wrote the Quran?
Yeah, very good, very good. So we believe that the Quran came down as a revelation to the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him. From who? From God. We established that. And so God gave it to the Archangel Gabriel, in Arabic Jibreel, and then he gave it to the Prophet Muhammad, or he sent it down to the Prophet Muhammad from God. Now, who was it written down by? It was written down exactly how it was recited, and it was written down exactly how it was sent down by the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him. Not just that, from the most capable of companions, from them was a companion called Zayd ibn Thabit, who actually learned the Hebrew language in 15 days. Okay, so they were the most capable of companions that were the most literate around the world. That's a good point as well. So they wrote exactly what the Prophet Muhammad wanted or received from God. So the Prophet Muhammad would have received it.
Muhammad passed it on verbally. It came through his.
Exactly, he would pass it on verbally to these companions, and they would write it in front of him, and then it'd be checked by someone else as well.
Because he was illiterate.
Because he was illiterate.
To write it. He was translating.
Dictating.
Exactly how it was revealed upon him.
Yeah.
And as we said, it's not just one companion that was writing it. There were a group of them to add validity and you can say safeness to the preservation of this book.
Yeah. I suppose, as a, well, I won't say what I believe, but what, you could say, okay, it came from Muhammad, the words of Muhammad. It was written down by one of his most capable scribes or followers. He was a languages expert. Yeah. I mean, I suppose Christians would say, well, Muhammad was a good prophet. He believed in what he was doing. He thought this is guidance, but then you say that's the word of God. Well, that's where you bring in faith, and that's another step. I mean, this was produced by men. You know, Muhammad was a man, no doubt about that. We're not sort of saying he was divine or anything, are we? He was a man, right? And he received this and he dictated it to his capable follower who wrote it down. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then, you know, when you start saying it's received from God,
Yeah.
that's a sort of a step in your belief. That's a step of faith, really, which a lot of other religions won't accept.
Good question. So
He's
just
not
how?
saying we believe that. He's saying a lot of other religions might not
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And so in essence, the Quran was revealed in the same way that the Torah was revealed. In essence, that it is from God, revealed to a prophet.
Yes.
So it's the same kind of link, the same link exactly. We're just saying it's a different prophet and it's a different message. But then again, how do we prove the validity of this prophet? We have to look at the message that they have. Whether that be signs in the Quran, whether that be miracles that were mentioned that we spoke about, for example, the waves underneath waves, or the fact that mountains are pegs. In the Quran, over 1400 years ago, God mentioned in it that the mountains are pegs. Only recently, in the last 100 to 150 years, we understand that actually the mountains that we have, there's more to them underneath the ground than there is on top of the ground.
Well, geologists, geophysicists, know
Geologists.
it'll come from
Exactly.
the molten core of the earth,
And all-
the tectonic activities.
Exactly, but how would they have known that over 1400 years ago? Because it wasn't from Muhammad, the peace and praise be upon him. It was from God.
I wouldn't try to use science as the way to.
Science is, modern day science is one of the examples. But we don't rely on science alone.
You know, they couldn't have predicted, what science has revealed today. I mean, no way they could. I mean, there was very wise men there who had insights into things and suggested things.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I mean, do Muslims believe the Earth is only 2,000 years old?
No, we don't. We don't believe that it's only 2000 years.
Because
Of course
We
not.
don't believe
We
it
believe
either.
we believe that prophets
yeah.
were sent down from Allah, from God,
Some people believe
before 2000 years
Yeah.
ago. As in before that.
There are fundamentalist Christians
Christians
who tell you
There are some Christians that say that.
the Earth itself
the earth is
is only
2,000.
2,000 years old.
Very strange. How would they just explain Adam and Eve? How would they explain Moses coming within this short period
Can't explain
of
anything
only?
that way. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Jesus, according to the scriptures of the modern day Bible,
Yeah.
passed away 2023. Well, that's before Christ. So it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, no. But my point is, you shouldn't. Science and religious faith are totally different things.
Good. That's a very good point.
Religion asks different questions.
Yeah.
And,
We don't.
They're not like.
Yeah.
You shouldn't use science.
You're right. We don't rely on science in Islam. We use modern day science in order to prove the validity of Islam, but we don't rely on that alone. We also look at the linguistic senses. We also look at the concepts that the religion of Islam preaches. We also look at the principles and the values as well as the rulings that we have in Islam to prove the validity of this book and that it was from God.
We use it in the same way that we are using science to prove that the earth is not 2,000 years old. So that is science, us saying the earth is not, because we know the earth is more than 2,000 years.
Yeah. It seems.
But science is a sort of continuous revelation, if you like, and it changes. Like our current theories will be disproved probably by the next generation. So it's always correcting itself and evolving. So it's not a fixed.
Exactly, and that's why we can't rely on it.
We can rely on it in a way, you see, because it's the best we've got at the moment. The best in terms of
what if it's
our
wrong again?
understanding of the physical world, how it works and so on.
But we
That'll
cannot
be
fully rely on it
improved
in regards to base our religion on it. And that's why I said to you.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't mix the two.
Yeah. Do you guys have, it seems like you've done actually some research about Islam. Do you have any specific questions?
We have respect. No, we have Muslim friends, and we live in peace and harmony with each other, and have great respect.
That's very nice.
And our daughters, Clarissa, our younger daughter, that's our older daughter, Nicola, but Clarissa, our younger daughter, she has quite a lot of Muslim friends that she was at school with, hasn't she? And they have had a lot of debate.
Interesting.
discussing.
Yeah.
So if there's any questions, any at all,
Yeah.
feel free to ask. Now's the time.
What about the Sunni Shia sort of split?
Yeah, good question.
What's
And
that all about?
That's we say the origins of that's a political issue. Now, ultimately, the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him, he never called himself Sunni and he never called himself Shi'i. That's first we have to establish. Now, but we believe that the followings of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him, became known as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, meaning the people of the Sunnah, meaning the traditions of the Prophet, and the group. Which means, if you say you're Sunni, you're following the traditions of the Prophet. And so therefore, the people who say they're Sunni, they follow the tradition of the Prophet. So the question is, where did this idea of Shi'i come from? Where did it come from? Because you can say in the modern world, from a political perspective, it's the biggest, you can say, shift, or you can say it's the biggest division from a political perspective in modern day Islam. And so we say that actually the roots of it was a political issue. The origins of Shi'ism came when you had the third caliph and the fourth caliph. The third caliph, after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, died. His name was Uthman. Okay, and now you had the fourth caliph, who you probably know as Ali. May God be pleased with them. Now, the origins of the Shia are the people are the ones who preferred Ali, the fourth caliph, over the third caliph, which is Uthman. Now, the Sunnis, which is the vast majority of the Muslim Ummah, Muslim nation at that time and today, said no, Uthman, the third caliph, is better, and that's why he's the third, and then Ali the fourth. But all of them, God is pleased with them, and they're good people, they're good believers. And so this is why the shift changed. Now the people who preferred the fourth caliph over the third caliph were called Shias, meaning their own party. Does that mean that they were non-Muslim? No. We believe that they were Muslims. Their political perspective on things we disagree with, the vast majority of the Muslim nation, but we don't call them non-Muslims for that. We don't say, you've completely gone off the wrong path. No, you made a mistake in this. Now, one thing to understand is that Shiism has evolved, you can say, over time, to kind of add other beliefs, external beliefs that are not from the true traditions, Islamic beliefs of the Prophet Muhammad, the peace and praise be upon him. And that is why when we say Shia today, aren't the Shia of the previous or the first Shia to come about.
So if Shias have modified the religion to make a sort of their own version of Islam. But you're saying Sunnis have stuck to the same.
Exactly. So the original Shias, they're our brothers, they're our sisters. They made a mistake in one thing. We say may God forgive them, but we still treat them as brothers and sisters because they're Muslims. The later Shias who have allowed external concepts and external beliefs to come into their system, we do not believe in anything they say. In regards to these ones that have added externally from outside the religion into the religion, and some of them have gone to certain lengths that they have left the main teachings of Islam. But remember, they're not the original Shia, and that's why we call them modern days Rawafid, meaning people who have rejected. Maybe you heard that term, Rafidis. So there's a difference between the two. But original Shia, they're our brothers and our sisters, and we respect them and they respect us.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question. Any other hard questions?
No, that's enough.
What was I going to ask? I know some religions, when we're speaking about moving on, in some ways, some things can move on too much in religions and society, especially, all this, whatever it is, that thing, LG, whatever it is,
LGBT?
Whatever QT. No, but the thing is, at least in Islam, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, most we feel like this. You understand
Beautiful.
what I mean?
And I think...
I hope you don't mind me asking that.
No, it's okay, it's good. And I believe that all the other religious parties have kind of given in. They have.
Yeah.
And given in to...
Given in is the word, because I don't think a lot of them believe it, but they've just...
Exactly. to trendy stuff or to giving into certain societal pressures.
Yes, and then you're treated as an outcast.
And you're treated
if
as an
you say
outcast.
the wrong thing.
Even though you may be the silent majority.
You're anti.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that proves that actually the principles that we have as Muslims, because they're the same principles and they can't change. Because they're timeless, we have to follow them. It comes back to what you were saying before. No matter what Islam taught us 1400 years ago, it's applicable for us today. And so, for example, in Islam, we believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman.
Yeah.
And you can't change that.
Yes.
And even though that was taught 1400 years ago, we're going to follow that same teaching today. And as you've seen, certain churches have given in, as we said, and the same with our religious sects. But Islam, because we follow these principles that are divine, they've come from God, we believe we have to follow them.
Yeah, and other churches, some that haven't given in, have been ostracised.
They've been ostracized, yeah.
Like even in the Church of Scotland, they've had to break away because they believe a man is a man and a woman is a woman. People have been put under immense pressure.
Yeah, but that's what we say as well.
You have stood solid as a rock. And
exactly, because we follow our principles. And that comes back to a verse in the...
manipulated.
Exactly, we can't be manipulated. Because we follow the verse in the Quran that God says, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. Today I've completed your religion. And so if this religion is so complete and it's timeless, no matter what happens in this world, no matter how crazy the shifts are and how drastic they are, because we have principles and God has completed our religion for us and He's happy with the blessing that He has sent us of this religion, we can implement it any time and it can be timeless in our implementation. That makes sense. Are there any questions? Any questions you have?
There's a group. There is a group over there, men. With the
Nation of Islam.
No, African, yes. And he said he was following some person who's in America.
And he was excluded from coming to this country.
Yes.
He wasn't allowed in.
Do you know, is this a breakaway group?
Black power
Good question. Good question.
Breakaway group from your true beliefs?
That's an amazing question.
Your true.
Amazing question. Because
True.
we have...
I felt they were a breakaway from the true.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. I know nothing. I'm
You're right.
just guessing.
No, look, the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him, he said over 1400 years ago, from his tradition that he said that the Jews and Christians, and he said the Jews will break up into 71 sects, the Christians into 72, and the Muslims into 73. The only one to enter paradise will be one, meaning there'll be only one sect within these 73 sects that will enter paradise. So there will be 72 sects that have gone astray. Now the point is that we have to identify that there are some sects within these 72 sects, as in divisions. We say, okay, they're broken off from actual Islam, but they are still considered a sect. And then there are the other ones who claim that they follow Islam, but they're not actually considered to be a division. They're not considered to be a sect. There's a difference between the two. The Nation of Islam, all Muslims, whether that be Sunni and Shia Muslims, from political perspective, all of them agree that the Nation of Islam are not a division or are not a sect from the 73 sects. They're not even following the main Islamic beliefs. If you want to become a Muslim, the first thing you say is, I believe that there is none worthy of worship except God, except Allah, one God alone, and that Prophet Muhammad is his last and final messenger. They don't have this concept. This is the main concept of Islam. This is what Islam is built upon. If you don't have that understanding, there's nothing to build on. They say that there was a prophet after the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him, and his name was Elijah, and he was in America during the 70s and the 80s. And famous figures such as Malcolm X followed him for a while, but even Malcolm X left that group when he realized that actually this doesn't make sense. There's no validity to this person, Elijah Muhammad, who claims he's the prophet, and actually the mainstream Islam, which is Sunni Islam, is the right way. And so they are not even considered a sect. They're not considered Muslims because they go against the main concept.
Yeah, they're not even, I was thinking this. The other interesting thing was somebody from your faith were asking questions. We're trying to have a discussion the way we are discussing now, we're friends, we're brothers, we come together here and we have debate and you have enlightened us. But they were asking questions, but he wouldn't trying to
He
ask.
doesn't even listen. He
They
just
wouldn't
keeps
listen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
He just kept shouting.
Yeah.
You know, you've asked us different questions, but he didn't want to know any questions.
But actually, if you look at the nation of Islam, the concepts that they teach are racist concepts. They're racist, completely racist. And so Islam is completely free from. They believe the white man is the devil. What is that's rubbish? You know, that's literally absolute rubbish. So we are free from every single or the concepts that they teach, the concepts that they believe in. And Islam has nothing to do with them, and they're not even a sect of Islam, not even a division.
No, but it's quite disturbing.
It is disturbing.
It in your name. It's almost like some of these Christian fanatics there using Christianity against Muslims. You know, the guy I mean, I wouldn't even tell you what he said about the Prophet Muhammad. That guy, that one there with the blue hat. What he said, I wouldn't repeat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard him.
I didn't know.
So
I'm
anyway,
glad I didn't.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he says he's a Christian, but he's, you know, so other Christians listening to him would not agree.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
he is
Exactly.
on his own. He is.
Yeah. But that was a really good question you asked about Nation of Islam. And it's good that we kind of addressed that and spoke about it.
No, thank you for your time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's good to have this conversation.
This is my daughter's friend's doggy.
Okay.
It's not my doggy.
It's a pug, is it?
Yes. He's a pug. No, he's a. What is that?
He's
A French bulldog.
Ah,
A French bulldog. But
Strange.
it's my daughter's friend's doggy.